Hello. Um, it's been a couple weeks. Just thought I'd check in. Today I'm actually going to share my coming out story because I feel like everybody has one, so why not share mine? It's pretty interesting, kind of. I don't have a hat on today, actually, so you get to see my wonderful hairline. Anyway, so for me, I wasn't ever like I knew when I was like in high school, like I knew there was something different about me. Um, but I had no intentions of ever expressing that. I was just I was gonna try to just live a straight life. Like I never looked at girls as like, ooh, like look at her. Like no, I was just like, how about him? But I always just wanted. I was always just gonna keep that to myself because like you know, was gay people are always getting made fun of around where I'm from. Um, like you always heard jokes about gay people, so it was like, I don't really want to be the butt of that, even though I was already kind of teased in middle school. I was kind of already used to it, but eighth grade was a bad year. We'll say that. Um, but I had a nice group of friends in high school that I stuck with through all of high school with. We were all really close, but um, anyway, I totally just got off track here. Um, so yeah, I was dead set on just keeping it secret my whole life. But then I started to work at the grocery store down the street after I graduated as like a college fundraiser, if you will. I needed money to pay for books and stuff like that, so I got a job. Um, and on my first day, I was instructed to clean off like there's this thing where you have to go through the lanes and like clean up any merchandise that people didn't want for whatever reason and throw away the garbage from each like register lane. There's like it's a big store, so there's like 20 lanes or something. Um, but um, I noticed there was a gay guy working there, and he was on one of the lanes, and I was. This was back when I was trying to hide myself, so I was like, I'm just gonna skip his lane. I'm not gonna go to him because I don't know. He's gay and he's like out, and I'm afraid to be that, so I'm just gonna avoid him. And a few minutes later, my supervisor is. I'm sitting next to her, and the guy he looks over and he's like, "He skipped my lane." He was so pissed. This guy is actually my boyfriend of 2 years now. But anyway, back to the story. So eventually, I warmed up to him. My brother actually inadvertently like got me to talk to him. Um, he's like, "Hey, there's this guy at work." Because my brother worked there too. That's how I got the job there. he's like, you should talk to this guy, Thomas. He loves NASCAR just as much as you do. It's like the only person that I've ever met that likes it just as much as you do. So I was like, sure, why not? So I got to talking. Well, I didn't really want to talk to him, to be honest, because I was shy, of course. I've always been shy, except ever since I came out, I've been actually not very shy at all. I'm a very open, fun, energetic person now. Probably because I was probably shy all the time because I was always hiding myself, and so I never wanted to really introduce myself to people or make myself known. So he talked to me first, and I was just like, yeah, and I tried to. He kept trying to make conversation. And I was just like, I don't want to be here. I just want to walk away. I'm uncomfortable. Leave. So anyway, as time passes, I always catch myself looking at him. I'm always looking at him, and he catches me looking at him, and eventually, a group of people that work there invited me out to go bowling or something. Yeah, it was bowling, and he was there and a few other friends, and it was a good time. And this is when I started to realize that I was like, oh shit, I'm starting to like this guy. Damn it. Ty, what are you doing? There's nothing over there. Okay, you want to be in the video? Come on. Come on, get up here. Come on. Come on. Okay, yes, there he is. There's Ty. So, where are we at? Where are we at? I totally just... Oh yeah, so I realized I was totally falling for this guy. And I'm just like, damn it. This isn't supposed to happen. So after as the next few months go by, we started hanging out a lot. He broke up with his boyfriend of 4 years, and I watched it happen, like, because he was at work on the phone or something, and like he was very upset by it, and I was just like, oh, that's sad. I felt bad for him, but we go out and hang out with our other friend. Her name's Tanya. We hung out a lot. Going out to the bar, even though I couldn't drink yet. I wasn't drinking. I was just going out with him, getting a soda or whatever. And he ended up dating another guy, which was very short-lived, but he kept making this remark that when he was with this boyfriend, like, I feel like I'm dating you instead of this guy. We hang out more than I hang out with him. And, like, that just made me really happy inside, like, because I wasn't out yet. I was just, like, daydreaming, like, oh, if only we were together. That'd be fun. If only I was not so afraid to come out. But they're still together. And finally, I just realized, like, I am totally falling in love with this guy. I cannot hide it anymore. So he was actually the supervisor that night, and it was like I was working 7 to midnight because I had classes that went to like 5:30, 6 o'clock, so I could only work at night, and he typically worked nights. And I like called him or something on his pager, and I was like, hey, I need you to come over here. And I pulled him into my lane, and I was just like, I need to tell you something. And I was really I was as nervous as hell. I was just a nervous wreck. And I was just like, I think I'm gay. And like his face was just like oh, well. But then he, like, for a second, he was upset because he was just like, oh no, I remember having to go through this. And he, like, felt bad for me. Um, but inside, he was very excited because um, once we started, like, actually talking, he told me about how he always crushed on me and always told people about it. And they're like, there's no way Austin's gay, so just give it up. Well, obviously that turned out to be false. Um, so I told him, and as we were getting closer, I was starting to realize, oh no, I can't let this happen because I could not tell my family and friends, and I couldn't do it. So I talked to him. I was like, I can't do this anymore, and that devastated him. And I was a total asshole about it too, and I regret the way I treated him. But luckily, once my feelings turned around, he took me back. And we were never together, but we were talking, and was he was willing to talk to me again. And that happened a second time, actually. I'm very ashamed of that. But I was only 19, so you learn with experience how to treat people, and I definitely had to learn a lesson because the second time he's like, okay, all right, well, if that's your decision, then that's fine. Then this is done. But of course, he liked me too much, and I liked him too much. And so, October of 2013, late October, early November, we finally decided. I finally decided for the third time I want to keep talking to him. And so we did. And then as time passed, it's like early December, mid-December. Just he'd come over. He would come over and watch NASCAR races with me. At this point, the season's over, but he's still coming over. My family knows he's gay, but they don't think anything of it. So they just, they look. Of course, he comes over, hangs out. He's allowed to do that. And one night, this is the first time I finally decided to tell a family member, my brother, and his now fiance was with him. They're sitting at the kitchen table, and I was just like, I need to tell you guys something. And I just decided out of my dog is a loon. He goes from jumping around to sleeping on the floor. Anyway, so, and Thomas was just sitting there like, what are you doing? Like, he didn't think I never told him I was going to do this. And like, I'm pacing on the kitchen. My brother's just like, will you just say it so we can start drinking? Because we were going to do shots or something that night. And I was just like, I'm gay. And my brother was like, well, no shit. It was just like, it was the best reaction I could have asked for. He's like, now let's start drinking. And his girlfriend was just like, Austin, we knew. Like, come on, you've never had a girlfriend. And it was too obvious. They were the only ones, though, that I would tell that expected it. Because the next person was my dad, who lives in Arizona. Actually, I live in Ohio. Lame-ass Ohio. I went to visit him for the holidays. The day after Christmas, we flew out to Las Vegas, and the rest of my family stayed in Vegas. And since 2019, I was picked up by my dad and taken back to Phoenix, where he lives. And I told his girlfriend first. I was just like, I need to tell you this. And she's like, well, okay, you're going to need to tell your dad before you leave. and you're going to do it. Oh, and she expected it too. She saw it coming. Well, that's the end of the people who saw it coming. Um, so days passed by, and finally, I was there. It was like a 2 week stay, I think it was. I was only supposed to be about 10 days, but there's a big snowstorm up here and canceled all the flights, and we ended up staying a couple extra days because of that. And she's like, you know, the trip was coming to an end, kind of, or we were like, I was only like halfway through. I still had a lot of time there. And she's like, you're going to need to tell your dad. Because I told her, like, one of the first days I was there. And she brought him out in the back patio. And I'm just like, I cannot do this. I don't know why. It was just so nerve-wracking for me. But it was. And finally, cause we sat there for 10 minutes. I couldn't say anything. And she looked at me, she's like, do you want me to tell him? And I was just like, please, just do it. Oh my God. And so she did. And my dad started to tear up. Which, I mean, I'm not a very emotional person. So I was just like, oh no, I can't handle this right now. He said he loves me for who I am, and it doesn't change anything, and all that stuff. But it was still like, oh, I didn't know what to say. But everything was fine. I mean, he took it well. And then, just going to fast forward a little bit. I get back home from the trip, and then it's early January. I'd say around January 10th of 2014. Yeah. And I told my mom, I was like, you're the last one to know, but I'm gay. And she started crying too. But hers was she had her reason for crying. She said, she was just like, I'm just upset because I know all the social hardships you're going to go through, and all that stuff, Oh, I forgot to mention, Thomas and I started dating on Christmas Day of 2013. So it was after I came out to my brother and before I went on the trip to see my dad. So things were going well. I told my grandma, and she cried too. And I told my friends too, and they're all like, "Oh, yay, it's all good." I already had two friends that were outed anyway, so I mean that wasn't really a big deal for me. But for a while, even though everyone was okay with it, my mom was like, when I was like, "Hey, Thomas to come over," she was like, "Well, how about we wait for that?" So at first it was hard because we couldn't really see each other because, my mom was uncomfortable with the whole having us together around her kind of thing. So for a while it was a struggle, but hey, we're good now. So that's about it. I'm still working on being more comfortable in public. I have, I've worked myself to being able to like show a little bit of PDA with him in front of people, but not completely. Like I'm not completely 100% comfortable yet, but I mean I'll get there. It's a matter of time. So yeah, that's my story. Only negative. There's only one person in my family that was like not cool with it, I guess, but they're out of my life now, so it's all good. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna need to make a video with Thomas soon because he is a fun guy, and I told him he wants to be in a video, even though, you know, I don't have a very big viewership. Anyway, yeah, that's about it, and see y'all later. I can get this thing to stop.